Welcome to Burning Tree Program Spotlight. My name is Eric Button. I do family support work for us and do business development. And I'm also a proud alumni of Burning Tree. Burning Tree Programs is a family-owned and creates specialized ethical treatment programs for the alcoholic and addict who still suffers. And we have 4 programs. First initial program was created by David Elliott back in 1999. It is Burning Tree Ranch. It's in Kaufman, Texas, just outside of Dallas. It is a long-term residential treatment center for men and women who are chronic relapsers. Program length is anywhere from 8 to 14 months of residential with a year of transitions. In 2004, David expanded Burning Tree to help more people and created Burning Tree Lodge in Elgin outside of Austin. Burning Tree Lodge was rebranded a couple years ago when David connected with Peter Pirano as our Chief Operating Officer. Renewal Lodge by Burning Tree is an in-network provider for all insurance companies, health insurance providers here in the United States. Renewal Lodge by Burning Tree is a clinically advanced mindfulness approach to the 12 steps, 30, 60-day lengths of stay. New to the family of Burning Tree programs is Awakenings Hill Country. David reopened with the assistance of Jessica and Josh Slay, Awakenings Hill Country. It is a all-women's, gender-specific treatment center that provides great substance use disorder treatment for men or for women only. Sorry about that. And it is also in network, and they have a robust trauma focus with the 12 steps. And in Tucson, Arizona, where our founder found his path of freedom, is Burning Tree West. Burning Tree West is a young adult program with a collegiate track. And without any further delay, I want to bring on, and especially with my tongue-tied twist up there, I want to bring on Tzvi Heber, who I have known for several years, and we're very honored to bring you on. I know Patty Raymer arranged for us to have you on our Spotlight show, and we're very honored. How are you?
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. So Ascendant,
yes, sir.
Detox in Manhattan, New York.
It's not as big of a tongue twister as my name. You know, I'm glad you got the women's and men's thing, because then my name didn't matter at that point.
Hey, man, I just break the ice for everybody.
Hey, that's what it's about.
Tell us about Ascendant.
So Ascendant's a 18-bed detox in Manhattan. We're located on 60th between Park and Lex, so it's a prime location in that way. But what I would do, you know, I think COVID kind of taught me that our staff, our individuals that work for us kind of define who we are. I think that's everywhere, you know, as you see at Burning Tree, you know, it's you talked about rebranding and you talked about Awakenings with Josh and Jessica and stuff like that. Like, it's not about the property. It's all about the people when it comes to treatment. And I'm proud to say that we have that, and we have one of a kind. You know, it's the only private detox in Manhattan at the moment. Yeah.
So, I know you have a special employee there, Harold.
That's for sure. We like to call him Junior.
So Junior, I really like his energy. He is a great compliment to you. Following in this line of people, helping people, tell me, I really like the story of how he came to you and said, hey, I want to go to New York and help you with this project.
Yeah, for sure. So about 6 years ago, Harold and I worked together. I was working at a treatment center, a nonprofit called Chabad in LA, and Harold walked through the door, and he was a knucklehead. He hated me from the day he met me, like most people do. I don't know why, but we ended up after he was done with treatment, he ended up working for this nonprofit helping incarcerated folks. And about 2.5 years into his sobriety, he's like, you know, we were talking, and he ended up wanted to come be a case manager at a detox. I was out in LA, and he ended up moving on to a much bigger and better position at another treatment center. And when I was offered the position in New York, he's, the first person I thought of, and the first thing he thought of was, how do I come out there with you? And ever since then, we've been taking down dodgeball tournaments around the country.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have. You guys really brought it in San Antonio. La Hacienda hosted an event at the AT&T Center where the Spurs play. How was that? How was that seeing Junior bring home the victory for you guys?
Oh, it was amazing. I'm saying the guy, the last house got what they deserved. They got their butts whooped by a 5'4", 120-pound Jewish kid from Queens, New York. So there was nothing more proud than seeing a bunch of those guys go down.
So tell me, Ascendant, it is a family-owned organization.
So it is. It's there's a guy named Paul Schwartz. He also owns Ocean Recovery in California, eating disorder, mental health primarily. They do well with obviously CD as well, substance abuse, but they pride themselves. Kathy Tunney's been there the whole time, the 18 years that they've been around. She's the founder. Now with Paul Moen and Heather and Reddick on the team, they really have a dynamite thing going on there, and we got what we have going on here. So it's Paul's been a pleasure to work for, and this team, it's this complementary product to each other, kind of like your guys, and we're proud. Both programs stand on its own, and really carry a reputation that helps each other out.
Well, I know a lot of people are very they speak very highly of you, and all my experiences with you, you're very ethical and very connected to this power in the universe. I really enjoyed visiting with you, Tzvi, right before the show, and hearing about what you and your wife do or create, out of the recovery field, but it's all intertwined. I'd be honored for you to share that with everybody.
For sure. So about 5 and change years ago, my wife and I, we lived in I had about 2 years of recovery, and we lived in this small 1,300 square foot apartment with 2 babies, and it was Thanksgiving, and we would have a bunch of guys in recovery at our house and gals, and then it would be like 5-10 people on a random Friday night celebrating Shabbat, and we had this Thanksgiving dinner, and we had this tiny apartment, and we had 30-something people going out the front door into our hallway of the apartment. And it was the most amazing experience I've ever had. Still, I think till today, is watching 30 people that are away from their families because they were, they moved to LA after treatment and didn't really have that support. And I made one phone call, and the next thing I knew, there was some guy who was willing to fund this idea I had, which was we were going to host these Friday night dinners twice a month, and have a AA meeting in our backyard every week, and host holiday events, and really pick the different holidays that were revolved around drinking and using, and kind of spin them into a fun activity. And and we basically, I loved it. I still love it. It's a community within a community, and there's nothing more special than people feeling like thinking your home is their home. And when you're able to provide that for people, I know for me how important that was early in recovery, and to be able to be that person for other people is just a feeling that is undescribable. Yeah.
I like your story that you shared with me. Would you share with everyone your COVID story?
Yes. So the analogy?
Yes.
Okay.
And it fits. It intertwines with
100%.
I mean, it's all connected.
100%. So, 3 months ago, we all got on our TV screens, and we were hearing about this disease that was ravaging this world. Didn't discriminate against any race, religion, population. It didn't care creed. It didn't care what you were. It was going to attack you. They told us certain people would be more vulnerable, and people with pre-existing conditions, and others would be somewhat safe, but we would all be affected by this disease. And the craziest part about it is that we were told also that there was no known cure, and there still isn't, right? We still don't have a vaccine or a cure for it. And when I heard that, there's only one thing that struck a chord in me. It's like, I know this disease. It's called addiction. What are you guys talking about? And then they mentioned what it was called, and I'm like, oh, that's weird. And then when they came out, and science and man came out and said, you know what, we don't have a cure, but we have these steps that you could take to mitigate your disease, and to make sure that it doesn't spread, A, and that B, that we worry about the people around us. And one was washing our hands, one was wearing a mask, one was wearing gloves, and one was social distancing. And then that got me, that like hit me to the core, because for some reason something clicked in my mind where I said, wow, you know what, this is really something I suffer from, because all I need to do is a few simple steps, and I'll have what I need to get through this. But then it got even crazier, where I started looking at it a little deeper, and I said, washing our hands, we talk about in AA that steps 1 through 9 is clearing away the wreckage of our past. So, what carries our past is our actions, is our hands, right? We touch everything. We whether we used our hands physically, you're washing your hands it was what I would use as the analogy of cleaning up the wreckage of your past. So one hand in hand. And then in step 10, continue to take personal inventory, when wrong, promptly admit it. I know that Texas maybe doesn't believe in the 12 and 12 as much as California, but in the 12 and in the 12 and 12, it says to wear a mask. To watch your tongue and pen. And what better analogy than to wear a mask? You're literally guarding your tongue. And then, continue, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God. The way that I was told it is, you got to get to a meditative state to be able to then bring God into your life and bring him in through all your actions. And, he's the protector, right? He's the director, and I'm just the actor in that play. And for me, at least, wearing gloves, like we talked about our actions, he's that protection. He's that extra layer of skin that protects us. And then, having some time in recovery, I started to learn really, really quickly that I could do a really good deed, and I could get that inner peace, that inner feeling that feels really good. But when someone tells me that I did something for them, that it's almost like using, there's that like quick spark, but it dies much quicker. And that's the essence of step 12, service. When I do service, I want that recognition right away, but truly I don't, because that quick fix doesn't do it for me. And social distancing is exactly that. No one came to my door yet and said, hey, thank you, the Heber family. Here's a box of cookies for saving my grandmother who lives next door to you. And because you social distance and kept inside, she survived this. We're not getting that. So step 12 is the essence of service, which, I've said, if you've worked the steps and you're living the steps and you're practicing some principles in your life, this experience should suit you, and you should really feel comfortable within
it. Ascendant, you're right there in the heart of Manhattan, prime real estate, busiest city, most densely populated city. Sure, there are all kinds of addicts and alcoholics that need help and to get on this path. What has been pre-COVID? What has been has it been difficult to convince people that you have a solution there in Manhattan? What kind of hurdles did you all have to hurdle?
Yeah. So I would say when Ascendant first started, the price point, I think we're in network now with United. We're working on a network with a bunch of other folks. I believe you could provide a really good product, as long as, Burning Tree obviously being the length of the program, insurance companies say, but when you're a detox or a 30-day facility, and you're able to provide an amazing product in network, as long as you're not looking for 100% markup on what you're providing. And that's the model we took. So in the beginning, it wasn't that model, and we struggled with being obtainable. And when I got in there, we really flipped the switch on that. And then the other thing is, obviously, there's not a lot of treatment folks there. You know, we're the only private non-Medicaid facility I think it's within, 50 miles of Manhattan, and especially within New York City itself. We are the only ones. So, being that as it may, like we're obtainable at a price point that makes sense. And then B is that it's about getting that name out. And what's been hard is usually when you're in a place, a bigger city like Texas, not a bigger city, but a bigger treatment city,
Yeah.
like a state like Texas, California, Florida, Arizona, you have tons of marketers that are marketing not only your product but their product as well. And what we found in New York, there's not that many of those folks. There are a few programs that hit New York specifically, and a few programs in Jersey and stuff like that travel into New York. But we've been blessed. We've been supported by the community. The psychiatrists, therapists, psychologists have really honed in on what and who we really are. And then we've been blessed because there's not so many options within our area. And people know me, at least in Texas, as the guy that sends a crap ton to Texas because I believe in that style of treatment. It's been really nice being able to work with places all across the country, because a plane ride's a plane ride, whether it's an hour or 3 hours,
Well, I know, Tzvi, New Yorkers, Americans, they like consistency. They like connection. And I am quite sure $1 to a donut that your dedication, your passion is, I'm guarantee is paying dividends for the people there up in Manhattan and in New York itself, with y'all's organization. Yeah. And with Junior heading it up. I mean, golly.
Well, yeah, he fits in. He's a Yankee fan. He grew up there. So anyone that he's our go-to. No one likes me there. I'm the guy that's born I'm the guy that's born in Miami. They like me in their next generation when they retire and move down to my state. But Harold, he fits them like a champ.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. That's a sign of a true leader, finding your people and employing them and encouraging them in their position.
Yeah, that's awesome. Actually, I'll say this is that through COVID, we learned so much. I'm saying we've been blessed, as I mentioned before when we were talking off the cameras, that we obtained PPE really early. So we were able to not only provide our staff, but we encourage them to take home to their family. If their family's safe, then they're safe. And, just because they're not in our building, we need them the next day. So they need to be safe outside, and they're taking subways. And I'll say this is our staff really, like, I'm so impressed with the strength and resilience. When it's hard enough to be a nurse or a clinician or a tech in detox, period. If that's your life, hats off. I've been there. I commend them every day for being just who they are. Then you add the stress of, COVID, and you're forced to be around people. And then you also have your family life to worry about, and you yourself might have gotten it, or your family might have gotten it. And just the resilience they showed, I'll be eternally grateful to each and every one of them.
Well, I really like hearing the connection of recovery, freedom, and how it's shown up in your life, and how you give it away, and how your work group gives it away. You don't even have to really try to transmit it. It's not through. It's attraction, not promotion, and it's just happening.
That's for sure.
So, I also heard you tell me earlier that you've really enjoyed. This time has been an opportunity for your connection with your family, and with the gentleman that you get to take through the work of the 12 steps.
100%. So I travel a lot. Just like you, is the company plane gets off quite often.
Yeah.
And being home for 3 months, I haven't been, I say this is like the reason why I don't mind traveling during the week is because I'm on the phone till midnight any night, so, but through this, I've noticed that a lot, my kids and my wife and everyone, whether it be taking a tiny break during lunchtime to just go sit with them, or making sure we eat dinner together, those things are super important to me. And I'm able to get up really early because I work on the East Coast and I'm here on the West Coast. So having that early start so that my day ends a little earlier so I could have the evenings with them has been really special. But yeah, blessed. Right before COVID, I had 3 new sponsees that were looking for, someone to take them through the work, and I've been engaged in that. And through having some personal time, and not, once what's that show called? The Lion Show.
Lion King?
No, Joe Exotic. I can't believe I forgot.
Oh, yeah.
Once I ran through that, and Fauda's new episode, and all these great shows, the Ozark. Once I was through those and there was nothing else good, I was forced to look at myself and say, you know what? So I started taking care of myself physically and also mentally. I grabbed a good old boy from Texas to take me through the work via Zoom again, just to have a different experience, and it's been unbelievable. Yeah, so I'm grateful for this period.
Well, Tzvi, we can't thank you enough for Ascendant, Detox in Manhattan, and what you do for everybody that comes across your path. You're a true leader on this path of recovery, and you are a witness of what freedom can provide all of us. So thank you for the time, and thank you for being on.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. And I'm hoping the rest of 2020 we could be as grateful as we've been so far. We're all still standing and still helping. Yeah. And Josh Slay just wrote, "You're in recovery." Josh, let me just say one thing to Mr. Slay. First of all, we appreciate what Jessica's done at Awakenings and putting you on the back burner. And if you ever want to get taken through the work in the 12 and 12, I'm here for you anytime you'd like.
I love it. I love it, Steve. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Tell your wife hello for me.
You got it. We will. Have a beautiful.
All right, Barbara. Wonderful family man, leader in recovery. Thank you, Steve, and thank you, Ascendant Detox in Manhattan. Burning Tree Programs is a family-owned and creates specialized ethical treatment programs. We have 4 of them for the addict and alcoholic who still suffers. Burning Tree Ranch is in Kaufman, Texas, just outside of Dallas. It's a long-term residential program for men and women who are chronic relapsers. Average length of stay is 8 to 14 months with a year of transitions. Renewal Lodge by Burning Tree is in Elgin, Texas. It is an in-network provider with all major insurance companies here in the United States. It is a clinically advanced mindfulness approach to the 12 steps. Awakenings Hill Country reopened with David's assistance for Jessica and Josh Slay to create and to enhance women helping women in gender-specific treatment. Robust trauma track and 12-step centered in-network provider in Fredericksburg, Texas. And then David Elliott, our owner, found his path of personal freedom in recovery in Tucson, Arizona. He created Burning Tree West. Burning Tree West is a young adult program with a collegiate track. We also have sober living beds available for men and women. They're in Tucson. It's about an hour and a half, or about a mile and a half, about a mile and a half east of the University of Arizona campus. So we can't thank you enough for taking this short amount of time and learning about Tzvi and Burning Tree. Thank you for watching Spotlight.